What's going on, gang? Baltmatrix here, and today we are taking a look at Transformers Tribute Optimus Prime. This figure is the Optimus Prime from 2007, over 10 years ago. The figure requires 2 AA batteries. Are they included? Will he live up to my memories? Let's open him up and find out. This figure straight out of the box is slightly mistransformed. His heels have not been deployed, his toes are not flipped out, the figure's thumbs are bent in on the palms, and the little shoulder stacks right here and right here are folded down. Otherwise, he's perfect right out of the box. The figure does come with this giant gun that I swore was supposed to have a missile in it. Never mind, I found the missile. It's pretty much almost completely clear. It is rubber banded into the very top corner of the box, and unless you're very careful, you're going to miss it, especially if you're sitting in a dark studio. The other gimmick that the forearms have is these little blasters that can pop out by pulling on the little tab there on the side. The other hand doesn't do anything. The figure is exceptionally top-heavy, but does spout some decent posability. Head doesn't move because of gimmick. Arms can rotate at the shoulders, in and out movement, double elbow at the elbow. Fists do not move back and forth, but they do open and close individually, and thumb is on its own little ball joint. Hips ratchet in and out, forwards and backs. The in and out ratchets are rather, let's say, not really great, but they do work. Swivel at the knee, bend at the knee, feet are on a ball joint, and delicious, delicious silvery heels. And believe me, those heels are necessary. This figure is incredibly top-heavy. In fact, the ball joints here in the feet could be a little bit tighter, nothing that I can't fix. But man, when I got this figure out of the packaging, I was reminded why I like it so much. It feels so solid, so good, so chunky. Yeah, it's not the svelte Optimus Prime that we are used to with the smaller size class and, say, Revenge of the Fallen and Dark of the Moon, but this was the original leader class Optimus Prime toy, and I don't totally think they've nailed it as good as they did here. This thing just feels solid, unlike the toys currently. Now, you did see that there was the light and sounds gimmick. It doesn't sound great, I will be honest. That's about all it does. You would think that this button up here would do something. It does nothing! Before we get into the transformation, I do want to compare this original 2007 mold to the 2014 version, or leader class version of Optimus Prime. This is a shell former, meaning he just kind of gets wrapped around by a big shell. This is an actual transformer. Yes, there are differences. I'm going to go with the giant chunky robot that's really cool as opposed to that. Optimus's transformation into truck mode is a smidge tricky, but it's not too bad, especially compared to later figures. First, pull the head down and wince as the gimmick activates or deactivates or whatever. Then take the arms, point them at a 95-degree angle, flip these sections on both arms back. That will then enable you to open these panels behind the fists and flip in the fists like so. Oh, it actually does help if you fold up the thumb first. Next, take the wheels that are hanging off his butt and extend them as far as they will go. Then unpeg his hips and flip them back. I was going to mention that later, though the button here up by his head doesn't do anything in robot mode. It does make lights and sounds in vehicle mode. Then, once the crotch is pointed all the way down, flip the legs down a little bit more, and then bring the arms up and peg them into place in the upper shoulders, and then fold these little silver bits down like this. So we want to get everything moved up and into place like that. And then we could take these blue sections, flip them around, and plop them on top of the shoulders. like so. Now we take the ginormous backpack, unpeg it, flip it out, and then flip the entire section around and down into the front of the figure and underneath the cab like that. So see what I did there? Took that whole section, unfolded it, and flipped it around to the front of the cab. Then we could take this whole shoulder section, accordion it out, and flip it to the back of the vehicle mode, and just make sure all the components line up correctly. Very lazy truck Gerwalk mode. Take the hips, fold them all the way back, while flipping the legs forward, like this. Come down to the heels, fold the heels up, and slide them back into place. Do that on the other side, and that will auto-transform the toes. Come to the front of the shins and flip out the shins. And they will rest comfortably on top of the toes. Combine the legs, and then fold the whole leg section up into place right in front of the cab, and then just get everything in line. Lastly, for the rear, we will fold those sections that we flipped out down like that, and they will peg into place on the inside of the rear of the vehicle mode. That gives us a little tab here for us to attach the gun. And there's a little connector port right on the bottom of the gun, and it pegs right in. Really, honestly, I swear it does. Oh, come on. The truck mode of the original Leader Class Optimus Prime that we have here in the Tribute line is, dare I say, beautiful. This is an absolutely gorgeous alt mode. There are a few minor flaws, but I look past pretty much any of them that you can come at me with, because there's just something about this mold that the other Leader Class figures, save for Revenge of the Fallen, have not been able to nail. There is a beefiness and a weight that this figure has that none of the other Leader Class figures even remotely possess. Yeah, the gun on the back here is stupid, but you can always just leave that off to the side. And its missile barely fires. Okay, it does fire horizontally, vertically, not so much. It has lights and sounds. And yeah, it's just honking, but who cares? It's so nice, it's so hefty, and it's such a joy to transform. The original Prime is still my favorite, especially when you compare it to the Last Night, or this one, Age of Extinction Leader Class Prime. There's no contest. This Optimus Prime, the original 2007 Optimus Prime, weighs nearly 3 times as much as the Age of Extinction Prime. And don't even get me started on Age of Extinction. He's a shell former. Actually, I think I just made a pseudo mask fan mode here. Whoops. Now, I will admit that the Age of Extinction in the Last Night's Leader Class mode has a better Centaur version, or Centaur attack mode, than the original. But honestly, I've been wondering if my memory of this figure was bad. I'm older. I'm 10 years older. Was my memory clouded? Is this figure perfect? No, it isn't. But it's still my favorite Prime figure from the movie lines. It's, as I said earlier, it has a weight and a feel that none of the other figures possess. And if you can get a hold of this figure, I strongly recommend it, especially if you've never owned it. If you were a little kid back in the day and you never were able to get a hold of this, or if it just passed you by and then you started collecting after the movies, you really do need to pick this one up. It's one of those figures that just feels like it needs to be in a collection. And I really do mean that. Even if the gimmick doesn't always work. Now, the original figure, I could have sworn used to say, "I am Optimus Prime." This one doesn't, so I could be misremembering on that. But guys, this is definitely one you need to pick up. It really is. I was able to pick it up over at Amazon.com. It's going to be available at BigBadToyStore.com and at other retailers, hopefully sooner rather than later. It's one of my favorites, flat out. It is a great figure that definitely belongs in your collection, and I can't say anything else more on it. Go get it. So gang, I hope you've enjoyed this video review. As always, I'm Baltmatrix. Ask you to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you next time. I am Optimus Prime.